Welcome, everybody, to Generation Dan, the only podcast where... Nope, I can't even say it because it's in the first 5 minutes. Welcome to Generation Dan, the only podcast where it's a masterful gambit, sir. I'm Atlas, I'm your millennial, and who else is here with me?
I am Dino the Genetic Marvel, and we are talking about the games that we play. Also, a fantastic meme that you sent me that I was able to include in the thumbnail. Loved it. It was fantastic.
I just love that cat where he just looks so serious.
He's so serious, but at the same, like I appreciate cats because they look so cute and cuddly. At the same time, they are primed for murder at all points in time. Which I mean, that's I've said it on stage. I'm like, a dog is a lifelong companion. A cat is a worthy adversary at all times, and it's a wild thing, but yeah. So
well, they say that cats domesticated themselves, so like,
and apparently foxes are trying to do the same thing now. Have you heard that?
No.
Yeah. So there is a thing where foxes have been domesticated, but apparently now they are actively approaching. They're like, cats can do it, we're doing it too. And I'm like, it's a good idea. I feel like I should domesticate myself and just start asking people for cuddles. As you know.
Yeah. I love the idea of foxes being like the tech bros of the animal world. Like, we're disrupting the market.
Yeah, you get a cat or a fox. Have you thought about a fox? Maybe a fox will be nice. It's
move fast and cuddle things. That's what foxes say.
I mean, absolutely, exactly. Also, like, that's a great intro. Does it just be like, oh, do you have any pets? I have a fox. You're like, really? At the same time, now people are going to be like, I bought a dire wolf. And you're like, that is mental. You heard about dire wolves having come back?
Yep. I heard about that. Mostly because Cole won't stop posting about them.
And like, in all honesty, it is wild because so like a normal wolf, which is significantly bigger than a dog, only is like, say 3 feet tall when it's on all fours, but it is around between 5.5 and 6 feet long, whereas a dire wolf is like 4 feet on all fours and about 7 feet standing on its hind legs, which is terrifying. Huge. Yeah, that's a big animal. That's not a small animal. So yeah, I feel like it's gonna be funny taking a dire wolf to the off-leash park. That should be just entertaining as hell, you know.
It's like when you take a Saint Bernard and they're like, you're really kind of pushing the limits here of dog.
I lived in an apartment building, and we were kind of in the middle, like in the center part of the building, whereas all the way at the end it had 3-bedroom apartments, and in one of the 3-bedroom apartments was a family, and they had a Saint Bernard, and I'm telling you, this thing was massive. Its name, get this, was Samson. Coolest name for a fucking Saint Bernard. And sure enough, like, I was taking out the trash and I walked around the corner and I got the Saint Bernard, and it just did one of these, like, just rubbed its face on my leg, and my, like, literally for half of my thigh was now slobber. I'm like,
yeah.
And he's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what's up? Drawn is easy. That's a lie. Your name is a lie there, but hello. Another time I had like I was going to an interview, so I was like dressed, pressed, good looking, and they were just going into their apartment, and all of a sudden the dog sees me and makes a beeline, and I'm like, God no, because he will cover me in spit like immediately. And at the last second, the mom was like, Samson, come here, and he just like put on the brakes and turned around. But like, he was there. Balcony was right at the rear entrance, where, like, if you parked, that's where you'd walk in, and he would just have his arms up on the balcony, just looking at you with his like Saint Bernard dead eyes, and just looking at you. You're like, that's terrifying. Slay people, what is your favorite story? I mean, you know, I have been actively listening to mythological stories now on YouTube, and man, a lot about vampires, Frankenstein, Arthurian legends, stuff like that.
If
Drawing
people
is
want to
easy.
hear
Like
more
it's
about this, our last episode was talking about the books we read as
absolutely.
kids
Yeah.
with Marfo, and then that was like a sequel to the original episode we did with her. So we do talk about it on this show sometimes.
Simon, hey, thanks for keeping me company while eating leftover pho. You're welcome, Simon. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you greatly.
Like somebody else says, like and subscribe. Thanks, drawing. It's easy.
Thanks.
Easy. Yeah.
It's so much easier.
Appreciate
It's
it.
so much
Yeah.
easier when you guys do it. It makes
Yeah,
everything
you should do it.
work a lot better.
Very much appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the topic that we're covering today is like games that we play and how important they are.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is so I am an English teacher and I teach creative writing as an elective.
Yeah.
And right now I am planning with my creative writing kids a Dungeons and Dragons one shot, which is
exactly how you ruin someone's day. I like it.
Yes, but like, okay, D&D is a storytelling game, right? You have to make a character and play that character. So I feel like that's a good way to like, play with the optics of the class a little bit. Here's the thing. About a third of my students in any given class don't want to be there because they didn't pick an elective, and the counselor was like, well, you got to be somewhere. So go with Mr. Novack. So trying to get them to finish their character sheets this last week was like pulling teeth. I'm like, it takes like 10 minutes. It should not take this like over. I saw them 3 times this last week for over an hour apiece.
Yeah.
And I was telling them like, I need this done so that over the break I can sit down and put the parties together because I'm trying to do it in groups of like 3 to 5.
That's fair. So
to make that work, that didn't come to fruition especially for my period 8, which is like 30 kids. I have to do this over a longer period of time. So what I did with my good friend Emrys, who you remember from my wedding, is that we sat down and made some sample character sheets. So when a kid inevitably shows up and is like, I didn't do the thing, I'm like, congratulations, you're Granny. This is your...
Absolutely. And they have to be dog shit characters. David Perry,
totally.
Yes. We are all right. Thank you for asking. It's appreciated.
I can I'll read you a couple of them because they're like, this is an Old West themed
even
campaign.
Better.
All right, so Dusty Bottoms, neutral good. Dusty's ridden across more deserts than he can name, always chasing the horizon and lending a hand to folks down on their luck. Beneath the dirt, the worn boots, and the sun-baked squint is a heart big enough to carry every orphan, stray dog, and lost cause he meets along the trail. He doesn't talk much, but when he does, it's usually about a horse he loved or a cactus he didn't accidentally set on fire.
Which is veritably the worst person to be stuck with. Like, just very
totally. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give it to like the asshole kids who are like trying to be cool, and I'm like, all right, here's your lawful good, neutral good character.
Oh God, that is diabolical. I love it. I mean, like, this is the hard part. Is that the best time to educate yourself is in youth, and the absolute only thing that youth do not want to do is educate themselves. So you're like, it's the best time to build good habits and processes for how to learn things, how to absorb information. And they're like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to play. And I like being able to incorporate that is, number one, good for you. Number two, still not easy. It is one of those things that is 100% frustrating. Like I like when you think about games in general, right? Like even PE, the things that you learn the most are how to work with other people, how to work as a team, and all those kind of things. And then you realize later on in life how horrible those skills will fail you, because people on teams, sometimes they're just pieces of crap. But I think that is the difference with how you structure a game, how you implement it. Just because the more people realize that there's usefulness to a game, the more they will push back. And you're like, this is for your own good. This is a beneficial thing to learn.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's you have to pull shenanigans to convince them that no, you're just having fun. They're like, well, I'm just having fun. I learned skills. No, it's very,
because like a big part of like with creative writing class, they don't interact with each other all that much.
Yeah.
I kind of just give them like, all right, this is the prompt, and like you're welcome to like sit and talk with your neighbors, but
Yeah.
For the most part, I have to just give them the time to write, you know.
Yeah.
So I think a big part of this will be like talking to people who you don't usually talk to and having to make friends with each other. I am of the firm belief that Dungeons and Dragons should be played as a part of any childhood to early adolescence, because that's how we prevent dictators from being dictators. I think if you gave a D&D set to like Mussolini when he was 12, no Mussolini. Like,
or you train dictators to be fantastic dictators. I mean, it could go both ways. It could go both ways. There's 100% a skill set there. I don't know. You know, it's there are see, and I'm of the opinion that both the intellectual game should be played, but also physical games are extremely important. Like I joked about this the other day on stage, was the whole idea that like we have so many people who are in leadership, quote unquote leadership, whether it be a company or politics or anything, and their skill set is I'm rich. And you're like, that's not a skill set. That's not a thing. So it's like, I feel like you have to be able to perform at a remarkable physical and intellectual level to get that level of authority or whatever, just for the simple fact that it's like, oh yes, I have lots of money, but also I am an Olympic level fencer. You're like, that works, you know. I can rock climb and I could do like little things like that where you're going, because it's the one thing that I appreciate about a lot of games is that you can brute force your way through things, but the real champion level achievement or when you want to be the best, you have to bring both sides of that scenario where it's like, yes, you need the physical prowess, but you also need that mental acuity to be able to structure things and plan things and foresee things. That's what makes you great at things. And that's like, a lot of people forget how important those things are, and how like, as much as like you'll see some people are very intellectual, not physical at all. Then you see other people who are extremely physical, not intellectual at all. And you're like, that is a failure on both sides. Those two things have to coincide. And I feel like games are the way that you can kind of bridge that gap. Deception, through deception, of course, to actually convince people that it's the right thing to do, you know?
Well, especially like for games. So here's another example, poker, where, because yes, there's the thing where like, oh, you gotta poker face and make sure you're good at the game. It's also a social game that if you're an asshole,
yes,
not like if you win, if you're an asshole at this game, people won't invite you back.
That's it.
Like, it doesn't matter if you clean them out or if you lost everything.
No.
If you're not a good hang, if you're not interesting to be around, people aren't going to invite you back again. Same with D&D. If you are a murder hobo, they call it, which is every character you run into, you kill them. It kind of ruins the game, right?
No.
And you learn pretty quickly, either from the dungeon master, who will,
say, maybe don't kill this one.
No, not maybe don't kill. Like, they will punish you in kind if they're a good DM. Or your friends being like, dude, can you just not be an asshole once? Like, you get the like discipline needed to just not be a dick to the people around you.
Well, yeah, and see, that's that whole side of it where you're like, a lot of people live their life thinking they're the smartest or the strongest or the meanest or whatever, and you're like, that's not real. There's always someone stronger, there's always someone smarter, there's always someone better, and it's the way to defeat those people is by doing the unexpected. That's it. Hi, Ogan, Yogan. I don't know how to pronounce with a line through it.
Or is it just Jen? And
it's just Jen. I mean, that's also a possibility. We're learning too. So thank you. Yes. Hello to you too. I feel like that's one of those things where I'm not sure if you'll remember this, but there was a a long time ago. So Batman the animated series, one episode was all the bad guys playing poker.
The
And
one
they
from
were
the 90s, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So and they kept on going through like different ideas of how to get the Batman and da 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 da. And then they kept on coming around to Killer Croc, and he's like, "I'd drop a big rock on him," and you're like, "That's not a plan. He's
Yeah.
Batman, you know." And he's like, "Well, we could use my idea." They're like, oh, "Does it involve a rock?" He's like,
Is Solomon
"Yes."
Grundy in that one?
No,
No.
no.
I'm trying to. I need to rewatch that episode. It's been too long.
It's Two-Face, Joker, Scarecrow, Penguin, and Killer Croc, I believe.
Okay.
I believe. And hilariously, Batman was there the whole time. It was fantastic. But you're like, that was the thing, was it was being able to put himself in someone else's shoes and mimic them perfectly, right? And their idiosyncrasies created the ability for him to deceive and all those things. You're going, but it's Batman. He can do anything, right? But the fact is that Batman is both physical prowess and mental acuity. He's the greatest detective, in the history of mankind. I have a book of him versus Sherlock Holmes. It's a great book. It's ridiculous, but also
cool.
great. Yeah, well, that's the whole idea, right? Is like those two things. You're going, listen, Batman will outthink you and then also punch you in the face. You're like, that's it's hard to beat. It's a hard to beat thing, But that's
I need your like I need that as like a sound drop or something, because you'll do it every couple episodes or so, and it's great. I love it so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well,
This is a well curated manufacturing of what a human should be, everyone. I am not a real person. Atlas is slowly becoming not a real person. It's all in transition.
Oh yeah, I'm slowly deteriorating. It's great.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing, is you start to realize, because I think that this happens especially in youth and learning, right, where you're like, oh, I want to be this type of person, so I have to do this XYZ, and you realize as you get older, is you're like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I just need to do what I need to do, and then the rest of my time I can just do as I please, right?
This is why, like, there are some students who have realized that, where they're just like, particularly the LGBT students, because this is a 99% Latino school.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people have family members who are not really happy when they come out. And most of the time their reaction is like, this is just who I am. Suck it. Like, that's just kind of how it is. But there are other people who are like, I want to be rich, because a lot of them didn't grow up rich. And I'm like, how do you want to get there? And they're like, I don't know. I just want to be rich. I'm like, it's not,
yeah.
I don't know. I grew up with those people, and it was not fun.
No.
So,
no. Hello.
Yay.
This is the thing, though, is
always greener thing,
Oh, for sure. And you realize, like, listen, like, I love the saying where people are like, it's better to cry in a Mercedes-Benz than it is to cry on a bike. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. However, hear me out. Maybe be in a life that you don't have to cry about. It's a wild concept, because the fact is, whether you're happy on a bike or in a Mercedes-Benz makes no difference, right?
Ultimately, it's those connections you make, and a lot of the ways you do that are through games. Pow.
Also true. Also true. There's also like a secret D&D group that meets in Hollywood, and it's like, it's all people who are adored for their looks and blah, 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 and they're like, yeah, I play D&D with a bunch of nerds, and you're like, because the fact is, like, we all forget to realize, you see a character on screen. Can I cry in a Volvo hatchback instead? No, you're not allowed to cry. That's it, Victoria. You're not allowed to cry at all, period.
In a Volvo hatchback. The backwards facing seats, that was always such a trip.
I mean, so apparently the Caprice Classic is coming back out, and I'm like, I want that car. I want it with wood panels, and I want the rear facing seats in the back. Yeah, absolutely. It's
I want the ashtrays. I want to be able to smoke in there. Yeah.
Hilarious.
I want a physical map.
That's right. I had, you know what? For so many years, my dad would buy us a book, like an actual book, and it was a map of North America. So it's like could never get lost and stuff. It's like, yeah, just look it up on the map. And wildly, like, that was such a learning experience. Like I love looking at maps and geography, and I'm like, oh, just trying to figure stuff out. And it's like people are like, you can read a map, and I'm like, you can't. How is that? Like, how do you not? Like, I remember getting lost in Greece with my ex-wife and ex-in-laws. We had a rented car, and I'm like, we are on the wrong side of that mountain. And they're like, what? And I'm like, we need to get to the other side of that mountain range. And they're like, how? I'm like, I got it. I'm like, I look at a map, and we ended up going up the mountain, then on like a goat herder's pathway, and it's like
Yeah.
like the wild thing is that most roads on mountains kind of go along the side and go up and down and kind of go in and out. This was like right on the top, and it's like right on the. It was terrifying because I'm like, if we get a flat tire here, we're dead. We're just gonna die here. That's how it's gonna happen. It worked out fine, but and I was like,
And you
I
get to the
can
other
know
side, and you're like,
anyway.
got him.
100%. I'm like, that's the road.
Yeah.
That's where we need to be. I have fond memories of sitting in the trunk of the hatchback in the UK. That's
UK,
listen.
yeah.
That's because you were abducted. No, that's
One of my friends in elementary school, his dad had a hatchback with the wood paneling also.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we would always get to sit in the back,
Yeah,
facing, like looking backwards. Although I would get car sick a lot, but I liked looking at the like rear
yeah,
view stuff, so I
yeah.
didn't say anything. And then
All
I
right.
always come out of the car and be like, "You okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine."
Yeah,
What
yeah,
are we talking about? Why games are important? Although we got a little far afield there.
yeah.
You said D&D. When I first got out of college,
Yeah.
we did a campaign, and it was me, two comedians, one of my card game friends, and
Mm,
another card game friend was the DM. So
mm,
it was like a different sort of mix. And the best
yeah.
part of that campaign was one of the comedians was a bard, so like the dude with an instrument,
Yes.
uh, that had a horse-drawn carriage with a piano on the back of it.
Oh,
And he had charisma coming out the ears. So like every interaction was just him being like, ladies, like
hello. Yeah,
just like talking his way past everyone. I was a rogue, so like a ninja with a
yeah.
stutter because I rolled a 4 on my charisma. Um, so I just kind of played it
Oh,
like Porky Pig anytime I had to talk to somebody. Um,
at the same time, that is the funniest shit I've ever heard. It was like, I'm a ninja, ninja. It's yeah,
yeah, kind of like that.
yeah.
Yeah, we're on a mission to talk to him. Like, um, it was
It's
such a fun campaign, and the guy playing the bard ran out of money and had to leave LA. Like he had to move
oh.
home. And
Mm.
after he left, we were just so sad. Like he was the heart and soul of that campaign. So we
I
just kind of
mean, well, this is the thing is I think that the games that you play kind of help reveal skills you don't know that you actually have, you
yeah.
know? Because it's that idea and like don't get me wrong, is that games of course are for fun and recreation and all those things. But in my opinion, they are not. They are learning opportunities on how to test yourself in a controlled environment. It's the same idea behind sports, right? You have health professionals there, you have referees, you have all these things. Veritably, like a football field is the field of battle. It is two teams fighting each other. That's it. Like that's the basic thing. The difference is, oh, you have a helmet, you have controlled environment, you have, all these things just in case something happens. You have rules, whereas in the real world, you don't, right? But that helps you test yourself and go forward because you'll see people. There was it's Ocho Cinco tried to knock down Ray Lewis, I believe it was.
Okay.
And Ray Lewis is a very large man, and Ocho Cinco is a very fast man. And he thought Ray didn't see him. However, Ray did see him. And as he tried to hit Ray, he just got flattened out by his own power, essentially, right? He hit him and it's like boom, boom. And you're like, that's hilarious. And he got off the field. He's like, I thought I'd get him because he didn't see me, but he saw me and now it hurt everywhere. And you're like, that's exactly it, right? Like you try subterfuge and misleading and all those kind of things. And in the end, then you find out that someone else is better than you and they will ruin your life. Basically, right? But that's you learn those lessons and then you don't hit Ray Lewis again because he'll murder you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, exactly. I feel like this would be a good time to transition sports, because sports too are a game. Did you play sports in high school?
So I wrestled, which was fun. I even have a bronze.
Why did I
medal
not
from
see that coming?
Well,
I should have just guessed that.
I made a guy cry. It was good. It was fun. It was because but it was I wrestled. I tried. So the problem was my school was very education forward, so they got rid of their football team and stuff like that.
Oh man, that's like a cardinal sin in the U.S. Like
yeah. So and no one liked it except for the principal. He's like, "Well, we're using those funds elsewhere." You're like, "Where? Just show us where." And they weren't. It was just shitty.
Not
people.
even like an arts program or something. Because I teach at a like performing arts high school.
Yeah,
but the principal before the one that I'm currently under used most of the arts funding for the football team.
Yeah, that's retarded. Like,
so
why
it's
would you
like,
do that?
because not a lot of people liked him. Anyway, you were saying?
I mean, I feel like that was reasonable to not like him. He sounds like a horrible person. So
I wasn't there for it. So
yeah. So we had. Let me see. So they kept on pairing us up with shitty schools that had a shitty football team. So I was like, I'm not doing that. And then they paired us up with a school that actually did really good. It was my last year, and I'm like, at that point, I had already been wrestling for a couple of years, or no, about a year, and I was working out 2-a-days. Like I was big, and hilariously, I had fought with a lot of the guys in that because it was the Hick school, like it was all farm people, and I had fought with them all the time. So I pulled into the parking lot, and everyone on the football team that was practicing was like, "Why is Dino here?" And I'm like, "Hey, I got this form." And they're like, "Get the fuck out," because they were happy about it. Like, "We're gonna be on the same team." Yeah. And the coach was like, "The deadline was last week. I can't accept your application." I'm like, I'm like, "Yay." And I walked away because it was the 90s. You could say that.
Because it was the 90s, you see. Yeah.
And the guys on the team were like, "Fuck." And I'm like, "All right, whatever," Then we had a rugby team. We did a bunch of practices, but we never had enough people to make a team, which was fun though, because rugby is a lot more violent. I punched a couple guys in the face. It was fun.
With rugby, it's less pads, right? So you just
it's a lot less pads and a lot. So the saying is that soccer is a gentleman's sport played by hooligans. Rugby is a hooligan sport played by gentlemen. So in the heat of the moment, you'll see rugby guys like punch each other right in the face, like viciously. And then afterward, walk up, be like, "Hey man, sorry about that." And they're like, "Oh no, it's doing gameplay. It's just how it is." Like very reasonable people where you're like, it's the heat of battle. It's just that's what you do, right? So it's kind of a crazy thing that I enjoyed greatly. But what are you gonna do? Did you play any sports?
Did you play?
No idea.
No,
no, I don't. I barely remember what I had yesterday for dinner. That's not
okay.
No, it was. I think most of the times they put me at center for football, and then in rugby, I think that was the same thing. I was just in the middle of the scrum. But you're like, it was horrible.
He's our anchor.
yeah. Which you're like, a lot of people are like, "Well, you're fat, you could be anchoring." You're like, that's not how that works. That's like there's a lot more factors to go with regards to that.
I remember that in like elementary school, where anything that required like physical strength, because we're all like pre-puberty, it was just the fat kids because they're like, "You're bigger, not muscle, but bigger." Like,
which adults should know better. Number one, and number two, you're like, that was a dick thing that always happened. Like,
it was just so needlessly cruel. I felt bad for them.
100%. That's yeah.
I was a skinny kid until I hit puberty.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So in elementary school, I played like kind of everything: football, baseball, basketball. I liked baseball the most, and then in middle school, I got fat because puberty, but also my parents were going through a divorce. Yay! So I stress ate a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. That is totally reasonable.
Yeah.
It,
So, so I didn't
man.
play a lot of sports in middle school, but that's when I like did the like artsy crap. That's when I was like in theater and stuff.
Yeah.
Was in middle and
Which
high school.
I think the failure of the art world is not realizing how how beneficial physical training can also be in the art world.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And like a lot of times people do, like, because I went to school with a lot of girls that did dance, and like they did crazy shit and they would do the splits and stuff like that, and I'm like, I can't do that, and they're like, oh, you just try, and I'm like, no, I'm not flexible like
No.
that, right? But now, like,
My
yeah,
yeah.
no, I was gonna say,
My
like, now I'm working on my flexibility because I'm like, oh, it's actually really important for your
yeah.
longevity and your quality of life. So
My sister-in-law can do the like slow splits where you go like slowly into the thing.
damn,
She's like 40, which is crazy. And she says it's my one trick. I'm like, it's a really good trick.
it's a great
So
trick. I
it's
knew
a
a
great
guy
trick. Yeah.
I knew a guy that could do the splits. He would kick out his leg and land like that, like one leg
Oh,
forward, one leg back.
yeah.
And then we started wrestling. He was wrestling too, and because of the stretching he was doing with that, he could now do it sideways as well. And I'm like,
Wow.
does that not hurt your balls? He's like, no. I'm like, you got small balls. It was a great rumor, but like, yeah. And he was also really short and hairy, so I was like, you're basically an orangutan of some sort. You're
Yeah.
not. He was Portuguese, so we always made fun of him. It was great. But
Especially like so I because I've been studying a lot of musicals lately while trying to write one. Have you ever seen the Legally Blonde musical?
no,
Okay.
I'm not a big musical fan, just in general,
Understandable.
because I
So
like I like a story. There's no need for singing in most stories, just in general. That's my opinion. I like music.
okay.
I love music. To put them together, and I'm like, this is not enjoyable for me. But yeah, go on.
So there's a scene where like she's part of this law firm and their new client is like a fitness guru who has been accused of murdering her husband, and the song is called Whipped into Shape, and they're watching the DVD, like her workout DVD, so she has to be singing Whipped into Shape while jump roping.
Hmm.
um and it's like it's crazy how much like physical prowess has to go into this. And then there's parts of the thing where they pause it and then they're like giving you background on like what why are we watching this video. And I know that they did the pausing so the actress has time to catch her breath, because you
Yeah.
have to hit those notes while jump roping. It's not easy at all.
No,
It's
no,
crazy.
no.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where like I've uh I've been doing like one of those things. Okay, so I learned this a long time ago, was that if you want the right heart level to actually be exercising that benefits you, you should be able to have a conversation while you're doing it. And you're like, that is
Like,
it's
yeah, I'm thinking that's
not like that.
not like
It
that.
it should be like, because remember, it's that middle ground of, you're like, when you burn too hot, your body kind of reacts in a weird way and doesn't do it. It's not exercising, it's trying to survive. Those are two different circumstances, right? So yeah, and because now I'm trying to get in shape, I'm learning all this crazy shit that apparently other people know normally. But
Mhm.
so if you can have a regular conversation, you may have an elevated heart rate, but it does not limit your activity, and that is a good thing. So like, it's the same thing where you're like I don't run because I have, fat guy skeleton. It's not, everything is in pain constantly. But what I can do is I can walk. And if I can walk, I can have a full conversation while, like, at the same time, and it's actually quite reasonable and enjoyable. And people are like, yeah, walking is great for you. It's low impact. It's all these good things. And you're just kind of, you realize where you're going, yeah, if you're being extracted, like jumping rope, yeah, you might die if you had to sing at the same time. Just talking while jumping rope is ridiculous. Singing, yeah, I'm surprised she didn't go unconscious every once in a while. Probably did when training, I'll tell you that. But yeah, that is one of those things.
Um, oh yeah, I never finished answering the question about sports. So in high school, um, I was on the baseball team and the golf team, which are two very different things.
Sorry, you said the
Golf
what
is
in the golf?
barely a sport.
The
Baseball and then golf.
baseball. Oh, yeah, I could see you playing baseball.
Yeah.
Golf,
I
I
didn't
could see you hating.
kind of, yeah.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah.
I had an injury that kept me from playing baseball.
Oh.
So I just played golf instead, which is like I get to swing a big thing and hit a ball somewhere. So
See, well, okay, that's the other thing is you're going like I used to when I would play, I would play like 9 holes, like an executive course. So it's fairly short.
yeah,
And as a fat guy, still be exhausted. Only one time was I invited to play 18 holes, and we were like, and they were like, we're not going to rent carts, we'll just walk it.
walk.
And
Yeah.
I thought I was going to die by the end. I thought I was going to die because I'm like, I can't do that because I'm fat. But like, there's a physical activity, like a massively physical component of golfing too. Because every time I would hit like from the tee, I was in danger of throwing my entire skeleton out of my body. Yeah. And a friend invited us to an indoor golfing range.
Driving range.
And and I was like, I am worried. I was like, no, I'll bring my back brace just in case. And in the end, it was okay. But at the same time, I was like, my belly and fat sides still couldn't get in the way of me golfing properly. But you learn.
Yeah.
But baseball, I definitely see that as something that. What did you play in baseball? What was your
first base? Because like I don't have a very good arm. So I was good at fielding. I was good at hitting. I was an okay runner. So they're like, just stand here and you're big enough where you can like reach for the ball, and then that's it. Which even though I'm right-handed, they like to have lefties at first base. Because you field and then you can throw to second easier.
Yeah.
And then they throw it back to you instead of having to do like a full revolution to get your arm back here to throw it. But because I wasn't throwing much anyway, they were just like, fuck it, just be first base. It's fine.
I mean, but that I couldn't run. I can't throw for shit. I still can't. You know what? It's wild. I've never learned how to throw properly. I can throw a punch. I can throw a punch and break a lot, but like throwing a ball, never.
I know what it is my arm is supposed to do, but I can't get my arm to do it because I think I was on the baseball team before my epilepsy, and then after I got it was around the time I got that injury. So
hey, you heard it here first, guys. Baseball causes epilepsy. There's a definitive connection.
So that's my journey of sports. Now in college, I started a club for people who either sucked at or didn't have the time to play baseball but still wanted to. Called Backyard Baseball at UCR, and to my knowledge, it's still there. Although I think they changed the name.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would run around or skate around the campus in a grass skirt and a Dodgers t-shirt with the flyers for people.
I have seen that picture. Interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So I like there was those like y'all are going to hell people that like they have on college campuses. Sometimes I would just kind of skate in a circle around them and throw insults and then skate off again. It was fun.
Yeah, that seems like something you enjoy doing. No question.
Yes.
Yeah.
I miss roller skating.
I've never roller skated.
They got lost in one move or another, and I never got another pair after that.
I've never roller skated. I was okay at skating, but I had flat feet, which weirdly I now have arches in my feet. That's fat guy syndrome. Yeah.
I lost so much weight, I got my arches back.
A little bit. Yeah. It's a weird thing where I'm like, this is like, I no longer have to buy size 14 triple E with shoes. I just buy size 14 and it's fine. And then, and now I have arches. Weird. I don't, but like, that's, if I went skating, like my feet would hurt within like a half hour or something, but I kind of want to try it again. I think I'd be okay with it.
I mean, you know what they say about big feet? Probably a clown.
Yes, I am. I was barely a person. Barely a person. Yeah. I don't know. That's yeah, I never played any sports in college. I don't even remember if our college had any sports teams.
I think with college sports teams, there's the implication that like you're kind of trying to go pro at it, at least a little bit, because you have things like March Madness and stuff like that, where it's like this is on TV for people.
Yeah.
Compared to high school, high school is just the people, the people's parents and friends, and then occasionally the one guy who is like will take action on anything. Who's like, I'm going to this high school game so I can gamble. And it's like, you don't even know any of these kids. Fuck it. I'll take any action.
This is the other thing where I'm like, so in Canada, we have our own football league where the actual field is longer. The balls are actually bigger than normal NFL balls. Oh. And the crazy part is that like most of those people, who is it? Doug Flutie, who went and played for the Bills. He was from Canada. And like the thing is, like most football players in Canada also have a regular job. So like a lot of them will be cheap teachers because they can take months off and you're like they get the summers off and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, it's kind of insane. But like on the other hand, the idea that people, even like the lowest level person that's in a professional sports league is making what, like $1 million a year, which you're like, you don't do anything. That's ridiculous. It's insane. But hello.
That's so weird that like you can't make enough off of playing sports in Canada to live.
I see, but that's the thing is, I'm like, I feel like that's totally reasonable. You have to still have a job because you're playing a sport that's not worthy of gajillions of dollars. And then people are like, no, all I do is play sports. And you're like, that's not a job.
I guess it depends on how rigorous the sport itself is. Like, is there the implication that like you are working out so often that like I am cut by the time I enter the field, like for Canadian football? Or
I don't know. It's not like I work.
Or how is it for hockey?
I don't know.
Like similar thing for hockey too, or
like it's all the same. It's just they just like to put out commercials that are like CFL, our balls are bigger, which you're like is hilarious.
That's so fucking funny. That's great.
Top tier. And they even had a thing where they're like, we should challenge a U.S. team, but the problem is the U.S. team will think they've gotten a touchdown and they still have 10 yards to go, which is hilarious.
That's so great. I feel like you just split the difference and do 5 and 5.
You would think, but no, absolutely not.
Then you would have to like make a whole new field for it. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Exactly, right? But no, I remember the one game that I did go to. One of our the close group of friends that we had growing up. One of the guys was getting married, and he's the sporto. He's still a sporto, technically. He went in for kinesiology. He was a personal trainer, did all that stuff. He was trying to be an occupational therapist, which didn't work out. But now he's an insurance adjuster. So, in turn, he for his bachelor party, we went and we did take him to we went across the border and we went to a Bills game. And man, that was awesome. Like that's like I get the hype because like people were fighting, people were yelling, and you're like, and we didn't even have good seats. We really didn't. They were quite far away, but like, I saw a girl beat the crap out of a guy. It was glorious because so I think I've told you the story where it's like he had a hole poked in his water bottle and he kept on squeezing the water bottle going, yeah, and getting everybody wet. And this girl was like, do it again. I'm going to punch you in the face. And he's like, whatever. And he was like, yeah. And she turned around and popped him. Hilariously, security grabbed his arms. So he's like this. And she just pop, pop, and just took him out.
Still wailing on him after they did the arms. Wow.
Oh, she didn't get touched. He got held down and she beat him. It was hilarious. Because also he was getting really wet.
Another big part of like, technically this is the games we play, but with sports being something you follow, right? If you have your team that you're following, that adds like a level of depth to it. I was talking to my dad the other day because my sister's a big Formula One fan. And my dad is trying to get into it because he's retired and he's like, fuck it, this will give me something to do, right?
Yeah.
So he was doing that and he was comparing it to NASCAR, right? Where he's like, it's different than NASCAR where there's like a technical aspect to it where you're following the drivers and you're following their like personal lives and all that stuff. And he's like, but when you go to a NASCAR race, it is like, it's electric because he's only been the once, but he's like, they're right by the like starting/finish line, and
Ooh.
every time the cars come by, it's like a wave of force
Yeah.
coming off
Yeah.
the track. And
Well,
he's like, I don't know if you can replicate that in Formula One.
so like that's the wild thing. Like there's certain things that you realize are different, right? Where like in NASCAR, it's about like brute force, and these guys like look, they I believe the term is rub up against each other. They're hitting each other, bro. Like, and it's dangerous and terrifying. But like when a group of cars pass by the crowd, like you'll see like adults with headphones, kids with headphones, because you're like, yeah, this will blow out your eardrums. It's that, and like I always equate it to the idea of like uh a group of horses charging, like a stampede, and you're like, yeah, that's fucking terrifying, bro. And like that's what you're witnessing. Whereas Formula One is more like the art or nuance. It's more of a dance as opposed to it. So it's like at the same time when you hear those cars go, you're just like, oh Jesus Christ! You're like that thing's way. I can put it in my pocket, and you're like, it's a rocket strapped to a guy with wheels. That's basically what it is, right? And then you see the drivers, and they're all this big, like they're tiny little guys. They're all so small.
It's so funny to me knowing where NASCAR came from, which was during Prohibition. You had people, you know, alcohol's illegal, right?
Yeah.
And you had people souping up their cars so they could outrun the cops. Now, Prohibition ends, alcohol's legal again, and they're like, well, we got all these souped up cars. Let's race them. Like, that's just how NASCAR became a thing.
Which is like veritably awesome. You're like, where people are like, well, I'm good at driving. You're good at driving. Let's race. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And like the concept of like following sports almost to a fanatical level, this is not a new thing. If you want to learn more about that, look up the Deans and the Nico riots in the Byzantine Empire. I miss last minute history. Cole, please come back so we can do last minute history. I want to talk to him about it because it's like these two teams that would like it's not just like soccer riots. They were like beating each other in the streets and shit outside the arena.
If you want to see something that's comparable now, there is it's a city in Italy where you can only play if you've been born in this city. Okay. It's 4 or 6 neighborhoods, and they beat the living shit out of each other one time a year, and it's no holds barred. Like people get beat up, and like it's just whoever lasts, just go for it. And it's very much like I don't even remember if there was a ball involved. It's more so just absolute brutal violence going back and forth, and you're kind of going like
the idea. Hey, one time a year we got to the purge, huh? Like just that.
and like, oh yeah, it's because I watched I think it was on Netflix. There was a series of like crazy sports and stuff, and like I'll tell you, some of the shit on there, you're just like, because there's that racing the cheese down the hill, and you're like,
oh yeah, I remember that.
Genius. One girl like got demolished, bro. She almost won, and but she fell and like she broke like 4 bones, including one in her neck, like crazy shit. And then she was back like 2 years later and she won, and it was like, wow. And you're kind of going, this is insane. Wearing underwear is over. Well, thank you, Lily. We appreciate you. I mean, you're not wrong, but you know, at the same time, I'm still afraid as a fat guy. It's inside me that I don't want to, if I fart, that I poop a little bit, that it will ruin my pants if I'm not wearing underwear. So
I was going to say maybe for the guy with small balls who can do the splits, he's not worried about wearing underwear. But
yeah. The rest of us, we're like, yeah, listen, underwear keeps everything where it's supposed to be. It's 100%. You need the security of things not going awry with the freedom of everything being able to breathe. It's nuance. Come on.
Right.
But
as you do.
It's I feel like that's the one thing where like the idea that people are so hyped up on the fandom of sports that I don't understand it. Like I was talking about this last night, was the whole idea where I'm like, if you guys get paid millions of dollars, you make millions of dollars, I pay a few $100s to come see you. If you lose, I should get a rebate. There's no question in my mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like if you win, full price, totally reasonable. If you lose, kick back because absolutely not. How dare you? How dare you? You've insulted my pride and I spent all this money. You can go to hell. But, apparently that's not okay. I don't think it's fair. But that's just me. But people people will fight openly. Even what's his face? The new Serbian guy in the NBA, he was saying how it's like people are like, "Hey, are you worried about the stuff people say from the stands?" He's like, "I played basketball in Serbia, man." And then you see a video of how basketball is played in Serbia, and you're like, "Bro, it's insane." And the same thing, like in Greece, basketball became a big thing, and people went nuts. And you're like,
Really?
"Oh, people will light flares inside the stadium. Like it gets
Jesus.
mental, right? Like it's not."
Wow.
Yeah. No, there's open fire and danger. It's not, it's the same thing. A friend of mine went to a soccer game, and there's a family section that has like a quick exit as well, where it's like they're protected from the team, like the normal fandom, because like it's a family section, so there's kids and they have to be protected. But they have like a dedicated exit afterward as well, and it's like because you can't put them all together, people will get hurt, right? Which I'm like, that's crazy to me. But also, I kind of want to go just to fight. It'll be fun.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Get into a scrap feels good.
Well, that's like I've had like been in a club and I got randomly hit, and people are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I turn to look, and the person's like, "Ah," and I'm like, "It's all right. That didn't hurt. You're not that strong." And they're like, "Oh," I'm like,
I know you didn't do it on purpose. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, I've had that too, where people are like, "Wham," and I'm like, "Nope," and they're like, "Damn." Like, sorry, whether on purpose or not. This is a big cinder block holding a very small brain. Fine, it works. Mm-hmm. It's very efficient. Doesn't matter. I don't know. What's something that you would start playing now as you're getting older?
Something I would start playing now as I'm getting older. Well, I feel like I would be down to. So, like, me and a few of the other teachers were playing with the idea of doing it like a teachers D&D campaign next year, just because like we're all at the school after school, so it would be as simple as like just meet in whoever's room and like make an evening of it one night a week.
I feel like you could do that. Like, you know how people used to play chess by mail?
Yeah.
They would send it, like, you could do, because like realistically, who wants to stay longer at work? But at the same time, you could always just have like everybody's turn and we'll be. Well,
you say that, but a couple weeks ago we did karaoke because we just went into the music teacher's room, who has all the equipment and has a smartboard. You hook the laptop up to the smartboard, look up the karaoke track on YouTube, and bam. It's like one of those little karaoke rooms you rent out for free.
I mean, listen, that's totally reasonable.
It was really fun. We're gonna do it again.
As you should. Yeah, I feel like that's a better team building experience than a lot of stuff.
Totally.
Other people plan, right?
But it was also only like 4 of us or 5 of us. So
doesn't matter.
You don't have like those teachers who like there are those teachers who are like, as soon as the bell rings, I'm fucking out of here, which I am most days of the week, but like they're not forced into it. We did it because we wanted to, right? Most team building exercises are like, oh, you're at this professional development meeting. Well, I want you to go around the table and tell your table mates one thing about so I think I could see myself getting into it again, especially because I'm being a dungeon master for my students next week.
I don't think you should say that publicly, but go on.
People know what it is.
Okay. Just throwing it out there.
Right. Game master, better.
Probably. Well, I feel like it's really that statement in general is something that you should very much keep context involved.
Right.
We
are doing a D&D campaign with my creative writing students. I am being the game master. because I didn't create a character sheet and it's an assignment. And also I'm their teacher. So
I'll be honest with you. You know that drawing that you did that your one of your students did of you in the bathrobe?
yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it should have a new dialogue box that says, "I'm here to be the dungeon master," just because, why not? I feel it works.
Sure, why not? So I could see myself doing that. I could see myself getting more into poker. Especially after doing we did like a poker night with my in-laws last year. I could see myself getting into it. I'm not very good at it though.
The key to not being good at it is be exceptionally not good at it as a show, right? Like, so you're like, I don't know, like if you're because essentially you pull the switcheroo, right? Because you get better, but at the same time you pretend to be shit.
I can totally do that. That's easy for me.
Because, well, especially in poker, like you're not playing the cards, you're playing the people, right? So at the same time is that, because that's the thing, is like when you play blackjack or a lot of other games, you're playing the machine, you're playing the cards, you're playing the dealer. Whereas with poker, you're playing the people.